Good morning, everybody, or good afternoon if you're tuning in from the UK, because I got my man Ogo, who I got to know a lot at Bonaventure. Did one of the first video pieces ever from the Intrepid on this man, and if you just followed his career, and I'm gonna make him tell his story, man, it's inspiring. So, without further ado, let me get an intro in, and then introduce Ogo to the stream. Oh shit! There we go. Looks like my program is having some difficulty, so love the live situation. Let me see if I can get Ogo into the shot. There we go. All right, so my bad on that, everybody. Looks like there was a little glitch, but my man Ogo is on the two shot. Ogo, what you been up to, man? Introduce yourself to the stream.
Um, well, Ogo, basketball, ex-basketball player, if you will. But yeah, I'm just a laid back, chill guy. I'm just on the same journey as everyone else. Trying to figure out this life.
Man, you're being way too humble, bro. I think people don't understand, and I that's what I always credit about you, man. You took your journey, and you're like, it is what it is. It's just life. But talk to him like how you got to St. Bonaventure, your JUCO story, how you landed there, and then I'll ask a
Okay.
couple more questions to talk about how I've been following your career since then.
Okay. So first of all, started playing basketball really late over here in the UK, and one of my friends actually who already played in a JUCO in America. I was speaking to him, just trying to find a way to get out, and he basically told me like there was an opportunity, like one of his old coaches who got a high school job in North Carolina, and next thing you know, he he puts me in touch with the guy. The guy never sees me play because this is back in the day. There was no Instagram and stuff like that. So old saying that, but so put me in touch with the dude. Ended up going over. He ended up bringing me over to Laurenburg. It was Laurenburg in North Carolina,
Yeah,
which, if you know anything about, it was a very, very tough situation. Like super duper tough. Like, we didn't get any food there. It was just bad. And after that, I ended up in Las Vegas at Finley Prep. Which was the first year with Finley Prep, who ended up being, a national powerhouse.
yeah.
And after that, had a bad run-in with Division One, Texas State, and basically it was just like it was a tough situation because I didn't know which direction I wanted to take. I didn't know if I was gonna, you know, if I was gonna be able to go to that school because they switched up on me last minute.
Yeah.
And I verbally committed there, and then next thing you know, they said, they wanted to go with another kid. Now, these times, I'm an international student, and if you know about international students, we only have a window
Yeah,
to,
man.
to transfer our visas. So I ended up going to a junior college, absolutely, you know, I mean, I don't know how it is now, but back then, JUCOs kind of had like stigmas and, you know, situations around it. Like nobody wanted to really go
Yeah, for
there
sure.
if you're a hooper, anyways. So I ended up going there, did 2 years there, did 2 years, went there for 2 years, and the next thing you know, went to national tournament, and I did really well there. Ended up getting 23 Division One offers. Coach Schmidt at Bonaventure flew over to come see
Shout out
me.
to
He
Coach
was he
Smith.
was like, yeah, he was one of the I think three coaches actually came out to come see me,
Yeah.
and from that alone, I was only gonna pick from those three. Because it showed me like these guys really, sought after
Yeah,
me.
for sure.
Long story short, I ended up coming to Bonaventure. I wanted to go to a small school because I really liked my experience at junior college,
Hmm.
and Bonaventure was the smallest school. That's how I came to that decision,
Yeah, man.
and that's it. Man, that's how literally how I got
Yes,
there.
sir. No, I love that because see, I'll always keep saying this. You're a humble dude because, a lot of people, like actually now that in this time in the pandemic, I think they can refer to more because some people had their job offers rescinded or fired or so for some reason, right? And it was just kind of it.
Right.
That's it. And, I've seen a lot of people give up, right? Just like, oh man, like that's it. And they don't know what to do. Now you went to JUCO, even though that was the stigma, and it's still the stigma, right? Like if you're in JUCO,
Yeah.
there's no way they think you're a Division 1 player, but you made something of it. You kept working.
Yeah.
You then went to a national tournament and balled out, right? Like that's an
Right.
opportunity you created for yourself, and that's the type of story that I want people to hear, man. And I think you're being way too damn humble about it, but that's because I know you, right? And let me even go further. If you are somebody interested in getting someone, right? You said only a handful of coaches come sought you, right? They just some people just sent you offers, but only
Right.
a couple visited. Bro,
Right.
that's
Right.
huge. I'm saying like you can't just passively give people like a shout out, right? You have to go, and that made an
Right.
impact for you. You're saying, I don't care what the other
It
schools
did.
are. These three people came. I'm gonna go talk to them. So, this is all what I love about it is that's how you came to the choice. You worked your ass to get that offer and got you at Bonus. So, I'm propping you up as hell. But part of the reason is I think like people need to hear this story in this time, right? I wanted to have you on as a
Right.
guest because that's just one part of your journey, right? And then
Right.
you did something that even I'm still thinking about this day. The Bonnies, bro. You did some shit. You did some shit with the crew, right? Like,
Right.
how does it feel being part of the team that literally have set the Bonnies legacy? And actually, like, do you still keep in touch with Drew and Daquan and everybody else?
So with the bunnies, to be honest, I wasn't even one of the. I was the year I left. Sorry, the following year after I left is when they won the A10. But obviously everything was like a build up.
Yeah, exactly.
So I was kind of like one of the, if you will, one of the, you know, in the shadow previous years because it didn't just happen.
Yeah,
Everybody
exactly.
sees it happening, but this was a year. It was a stepping
Yes,
stone.
sir.
Even from the very first moment Schmidt got there. So I celebrated. I remember I was in Europe when they won, and I watched the whole game.
Yeah.
I celebrated like it was like I was part of the team because in a way I was,
Mm-hmm.
but people don't understand that there's always a process to things, and you work years for someone to feel like it's an overnight success.
Yeah.
You
Love that.
celebrate when they celebrate it, it's like, oh yeah, that's an overnight success, but they don't see the years that
Yes,
you
sir.
put in. And I think that has been my whole life and my whole journey. A lot of things that I accomplished or where I came from, like they don't understand that this was literally a process.
Mm-hmm.
This wasn't a thing that just happened. I think that's how it is a lot of times when you look at people who are doing things, like you look at, great people like LeBron James or people in business,
Yeah.
well, not everybody in business because some of them just get handouts, but, but I mean, a lot of people who've come up, like when they come up with, oh, but they don't see that,
Yeah.
and that grind, they don't see that perseverance that people go through. And that has literally been my whole life, grinding and just trying to get through obstacles and just plugging away and facing failures and continuing on and like that's literally been my life. And at a young age, it's crazy because I started that journey at a young age. I came to America when I was 17. I didn't have no family. I didn't have
Yes,
no
sir.
phone. I didn't have no money.
Mm-hmm.
And this was at the time I don't think I understood what I was doing, but I just knew I wanted one thing and I just did everything I possibly could.
Bro.
And I think that's important because even at that age, I was able to do that. Then as an adult, when I understand things, I understand processes, there's almost like no excuse to wither when you face an obstacle. So for me, it was, and it is still that constant perseverance, and that it doesn't fail a lot of people, if anyone.
See, that's I love how you articulated that because nothing is an overnight success. There was a grind, and the reason
Right,
why you're right, you weren't part of that team, but damn it, I covered that team, and I knew what you did for helping everybody's growth, man. Like you set into work ethic,
right,
and like one of the posts that I still remember you posting one day is I think you had like 345 plates on your knee, and you're doing wall squats, and you're like, that's my
yeah,
warm up, and like people, and like what I love is that like I know how hard you worked and all through that. So post college, you got to play some pro ball and
right,
you had a good time, right? Like, and then
yeah,
walk me through because you have an interesting journey here of when you
yeah,
played, and then you're like, hey, maybe it's time to back away, and then you got back in. So walk me through like what went on during that time when you were playing, and then went to that decision, and then started everything.
Okay, so when I first started playing, my first year I was in Cyprus, and again, coming from America and playing basketball in college, when you go to Europe, you kind of expect that kind of same treatment. In terms of you get the gear, you have
Yeah,
the
yeah,
facilities, and everything is, everybody literally they cater to you. And playing professionally in Europe, especially as a rookie, it's not like that.
yeah, man.
You have to literally like everything I went through literally prepared me for that next step. It was crazy. Just
Yeah,
looking at it now and looking at it then. Like as soon as I got to my team in Cyprus and I went to the locker room, I was like, "What is this? It's a mess." It's like there's no way this is like I thought it was like a scam.
yeah, yeah.
Like a, you know.
Yeah,
So
you were
I
telling me.
I
Sorry to
went.
cut you off, but I remember. I love this story. You're like, um, after like the free throws, right? Like you're about the game's about to end. You're just like, no, I'm just gonna toss it and just run out and stuff like
Yeah,
that. That story like blew my mind.
that story is one of so many. Like over there, you don't taunt the crowd. See, in college, you can like play on a road game and make a three and like taunt the crowd or
Yeah,
whatever. You can't do that in some places in Europe or some teams because they'll come on the court. They'll they'll
bro,
literally come on the court. Like
bro.
I'm talking about thousands of people. They'll come after you. Like, and I had my first dose of that my rookie year. So it was just again, it was trying to figure things out. So obviously it was rough. I had so many situations like in terms of like my housing situation, like having bed bugs, and it was rough like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah,
So, but again, I've had bed bugs in the past because of my first school, in North Carolina. So it kind of prepared me, like,
yeah,
what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah.
Everything was like, it was like a movie. But so after that, it got better, obviously, as I got older. Make more money. Started playing in different countries, and I moved to Greece, and I found my flow, my rhythm, and it got to a point where it wasn't. I don't know if it was fun anymore. Like I was doing it because it was all I knew.
Yeah,
But I was just thinking to myself, I'm always a forward thinker. I was just thinking to myself, what am I gonna be after this is all done? Because this is not forever.
yeah,
And I couldn't answer that, and most guys can't. It's just like, oh yeah, I'll deal with it when I get there. And I was like, no, I'm not comfortable doing that. So I need to try and figure this out. And year in, year out, I couldn't do it because basketball was the season was 9 months, 9 10 months. We playing the playoff,
yeah,
and every year it was just like the same cycle, the same. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna lay this down, so I have to figure it out.
yeah,
And when I did it, it was tough because I didn't know what I was getting myself into. I didn't know what I was preparing myself for, but I thrive in moments like that, in moments of uncertainty.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I was forced to try to find something, and I tried so many different things, and that's literally when I discovered, not discovered, but that's when I really like understood that I knew how to deal with the markets,
Yes, sir.
and that's literally how that started. Now I was already investing in stuff like my rookie year, just blindly, buying Facebook and buying, hot stocks like that. But
Yeah,
it wasn't it wasn't serious like I'm doing it like I didn't understand it. I was just like, oh, yeah, you buy it low, sell it when it's high, make some money, whatever.
yeah, yeah,
But then I started to see basketball in everything because that's all I knew. So I applied that same discipline, that same
mm,
craft, if you will, into the market, and I got it and I understood it. It clicked for me. So all I had to do was develop my skill,
yeah,
and I decided, this is what I'm going to do. And during that time, I was also mourning basketball because basketball was literally everything to me.
yeah,
And with a relationship like that, it never goes away. You always still love it.
for sure, for sure.
And again, at that time as well, my coach who introduced me to basketball, well, who helped me, who changed everything for me basketball wise. He was dying, and I watched him die over a 6 month period. Tough six
Man,
month period.
man.
And after his funeral, I remember telling him, my closest friends, I told him I'm gonna play again. And he was like, I knew you're not good. And I ended up calling my agent. I told him, give me a month.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and and that was it. That's how I got to playing again.
Bro, like, ah, man, every single time I rehear your story or like even learning something new, like about what your coach was going through and stuff like that. And, the part that I want people to realize is that what you did takes a lot of fucking balls. Like I don't think people realize that like when you do something that you were absolutely great at and know it and you have it in your routine and it's also who you are, right? It's your character. It's what people know you, it's
Mm,
your brand. It's and for when you go to bed at night, you're like, I'm a baller. I've done this and like I built
right.
my entire life for it and I worked up to here. And then you can get to a point, right, where it's like, what is this, right? Like, and
Mm,
there's time that you're like trying to experiment and all that kind of stuff and figure it out, but it's so much harder if you got to a certain level. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
if like
Yeah.
what I tell people right now is like, right now from where I'm at in the social media game in terms of how I'm doing for clients and stuff like that, I'm at a
Yeah.
place where it's very hard for me to turn around because I know what the opportunity cost of me just giving that up, right? Take the money
Mm,
out. It's just
mm,
the opportunity cost of everything that comes with it. My branding, what people know me about, what I'm good at, what I can rattle off in a
mm,
heartbeat, all that kind of stuff. And, you know, I'm just so blessed that I did all that when I wasn't making any money, right? Trying to figure out what I wanted to do, and I landed here.
right.
But I know so many people are still struggling to find that. And you literally told a story there. You're like, hey, this is who I was. I still tried something else. And then, you went back. You played ball, man. And then there was not even just like oh, I didn't want to do this anymore, but there was like a life to it. And you're right.
Mm,
Like for me, I'll always have that tie with golf because that's
mm.
why I came to Bonaventure. I came to play D1
Okay.
golf, right? And then
Yes.
all this
Yes.
intrepid shit happened, and like all that happened, and there's no way you know what a student D1 athlete schedule is like. There's no way I could have done that shit and did that. So I had to
Right.
make a choice, but that's still in me, right? Like I'll go to the
Mm,
range and I'll play a match and I'll still be in that mindset of how I'm gonna beat this dude in a one-on-one situation, right? Like what I got to do to get there. That mindset also, and I loved your point. You see basketball and everything, right? I see golf and
mm,
everything too, bro. Like how you
right.
plan the course, what kind of equipment you need, what kind of shots you're thinking
Mm,
about, what happens if you do this into the next hole, how many more holes there are, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, man,
yeah.
I vibe with what you're saying, and
Right.
now taking a different turn when you balled, you started playing good, yeah, right. You
Mm,
were finding your groove when
right.
you restarted, but then something happened, right? And I'm sure you didn't expect it. So walk us through when that happened, and then like the entire process from like, oh, I can recover to like, man, was that it?
You talking about my injury?
Yeah, man.
Okay. So yeah. So anybody knows me, I've had a lot of like like nicknames. People call me a machine or
Mm-hmm.
like a monster, whatever. People
Yep.
call me all the kind of Slinger and Bonaventure. That was my nickname, Slinger. And it was one of those things where I had never been injured in my life. You have bruises and stuff like that, but to the point where you're shut down. And what happened was the first play of the game. It was February 13, February 14, and it was a freak. I suffered a freak accident, and my patella tendon ruptured. And when that happened, I was confused. Like I didn't feel any pain. I My team was the best team in the league. Doing really really well, and it's just like what I was in shock. At the time, and even after the hospital, after they told me what happened, I didn't believe it. I was like, no, not me. That's me. No way. Never hurt. Never been hurt in my life, and I'm not gonna start now.
Yeah, man.
And obviously, what they call it, the 9 stages of mourning came to me, and I realized like, wow, like I'm really gonna have surgery. For me, that was an eye opener because nobody ever thinks it's them till it is them. You know what I'm saying? And that goes for anything, whether
Yeah.
it's social issues, whether it's life, whether it's family, losing whatever, losing your job, pandemic. Nobody ever thought, oh yeah, this was gonna happen until it does. And for me, it was just like, whoa, you know. And immediately, my first, sorry, my dog is like, move, move.
I don't know if you saw my live
Immediately,
stream yesterday, but my dog literally bombed
I
me during
saw,
the interview
I
there.
saw.
So I get it. I get it.
So I immediately my first reaction, my first response is like, I have to get back. Like, I don't know, I don't care how long it takes me. He told me the timeline was 6 months to total healing.
Yeah.
So I don't care if it takes me 6 years, I will get back. That's
Yes, sir.
the first thing. And when I did that, I realized that basketball wise, professionally, that was probably my only or second goal ever. Because when you play professionally, it's not the same as college because the goal is money. Yes, you want to win championships, and yes, you want to do. And I won a championship my second year playing professionally,
Yeah.
and it wasn't the same because it was like, hey, okay, go away. It wasn't the same as playing in Jackson Move. It wasn't the same as playing in college where it's like, oh, it means it's not just money, it's
Right.
like
Right.
brotherhood, whatever. It wasn't like that. It was just straight money. So I realized that wow, this is the only real goal. And I said, okay, I set out for it. And I watched videos. I spoke to a lot of people who've been through surgeries, knee surgeries,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
they prepared me, which was good because I needed that mentally. And it was easily, and I've been through some stuff in my life, easily the hardest thing I've ever had to go through
Mm.
in terms of
Yeah.
physically, mentally, spiritually. Like it was tough.
Yeah,
Like
man.
I remember times where I was just so depressed. I wasn't eating. I was just looking at my leg, because I lost all my muscle.
Mm. Yeah.
And I had to literally regrow my whole leg. And that for me was like an awakening to being like, wow, like, I'm human. And, a lot of basketball players, good basketball players, we thrive off our ego. You know, People talk all they want about humility and whatnot, but
Yeah.
what makes a good player good is he thinks he's the best in the room
Bro, you just saw
because
The
he
Last
has to think
Dance,
that
right?
way.
Jordan knew he was the best, and he's like, who's guarding me? Oh, 50. Like, that dude, right? Like, that's
Yeah,
the mentality, and I'm with you. All the best athletes have a degree of that. Jordan was like, way this, but, like, you're absolutely right.
yeah, you have to have that because if not, you're gonna be eaten by somebody who doesn't have that. And for me, that was a moment where you realize like, whoa, all it takes is one. I'm in my 30s now. It's like, whoa, like,
Yeah.
and most guys, and I spoke to guys, and I just asked them, and they didn't know I was asking them to find out. But I spoke to so many guys, and I asked them, like, yo, what are you gonna do after you're done, or like, what are you gonna do if like no basketball? And they're like, oh yeah, I'll get it. And nobody realizes like, first of all, you're on the clock.
Yeah.
There's a shot clock for your career,
There's a
and
damn shot
secondly,
clock, huh?
yeah, and it's ticking. And secondly, like that shot clock, there could be a violation, or there could be something that stops the whistle before you get to the end, so to speak. So it's like I was just like wow, like so immediately I had to step away from basketball and focus just on my rehab and my business, which I had already started,
Yeah.
while I was out. So as I was doing that, it helped me recover. Yes, I missed the game. Yes, people sending me messages was counterproductive. It's just like, okay, like,
Yeah,
because I
yeah,
was
I
trying to
got
get
you.
away. Like I appreciated it, but it was just like, it was too much, for what I was trying to deal with. And that's literally, I went through that whole situation and I fully recovered in November. So it took me, so for February to November, that's
10 months?
what, 9 odd months,
Yeah,
9,
9 months,
10 months,
yeah.
yeah. So yeah, that was and I did it, and I'm happy I did it. And eventually, I returned back to Italy. I did just before the pandemic hit. Had a situation with the team.
Mm-hmm.
Don't want to speak about it. And I ended up leaving earlier. I was only there for like a week,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
2 weeks later, the pandemic hit Italy. So it was like, wow.
bro.
So yeah, but that whole I hate to use like cliche quotes and everything happens for a reason. I don't like to say things like that because sometimes people use it for a cop out
Yeah.
and stuff. But I'm saying like in this situation, every this led to something else, and that's literally life. It's never. Have you seen that meme where people think they like, oh yeah, what you want for your life, the person on a bicycle? and they're here and it's
Yeah,
a
yeah,
straight
yeah.
line. And then what's really gonna happen is like,
Yeah, man.
obstacles, and that's life. And it's funny he used. I was talking to someone the other day, talk about. It's funny he used the bicycle because the bicycle we want to get to places quick. Get from here to here, point A to point B. But with that obstacle course, there's water, there's hills. You're gonna have to leave everything that you're used to.
Yeah,
You're gonna have to leave
yeah,
your convenience. You're gonna have to leave your comfort zone. And funny enough, those comfort zones or that bike is literally holding you back from getting to the
mm,
real destination.
mm, yeah,
Because those things that you're used to, or those tools that you think you're going to bring with you, or those people you think you're going to bring with you, they are actually not meant to come with you on this journey, and you
yeah,
will not get there.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Until you even if it's for a season, even if it's for a time, because that's literally how we are as humans. We have to keep on moving. We have nothing stands still, nothing changes. The only inevitable thing. So it changes the only constant.
Yeah,
So we
yeah,
have
literally.
to learn how to navigate. And that's literally what I do for a living, learning how to navigate through the market.
Yeah, man. No,
Nothing is a straight line.
no, for sure, man. Like, it's like I do want to eventually talk about some of the market stuff and what you're doing.
Yeah.
But what I absolutely love that part where you said this was the hardest thing you went through. I just had the last 10 minutes talking about how hard you had it before, right? And then now you making some good change and you're telling people this was hard. And this is actually like, I love you saying that because what an injury does to an athlete is, and you're literally watching your leg getting smaller, right? You're physically seeing your body not get to the level or progressing the way you are. That is a whole, like, I get it, man. And I had a friend who had a promising career and an injury and had multiple surgeries just to try to get back, and every single
Mm.
surgery just broke her down more and more and more and more. And I don't think people truly understand like what that does to certain athletes when most of them, if you think about it, if you spend your entire tens training to be an athlete and making it somewhere, that is in our perspective, right? We're in our 30s. That's a third of your damn life. So you're saying a third of your life, and then probably a lot when you're younger too. So you're saying 2/3 of your life now is gone. Like you have to deal with that reality, man. Like I really want people to hear that because take it away from an athlete and just take that out. And let's say that's you and your like career, right? We're
Mm.
going back to exactly what you went through when you stepped back. And what I'm saying is where I'm at right now, if I want to take a step back, what that's lost, people need to understand and really respect the people that did it, right? I don't think
Mm.
everybody sees people that are saying, I gave up my career and did this, and they hear that overnight success, right? But what they don't
Mm.
know is how hard it was at the beginning. And yeah, man. So, like, props to you for dealing through that because man, I know that's not easy. And now this
Yeah.
is a perfect segue into kind of what you're doing, right? Like when I hit you up, I was telling you that like, man, I've been good the last 5 years because I had that Microsoft stock, and like people don't
Right.
realize Microsoft, and they're like, how diverse is it? Well, they bought LinkedIn. They're on social media. They have Xbox. They're dominating that, and Xbox is coming out this year too with the new version competing with PS3. Right?
Okay.
They have like Microsoft Teams, and they have all the cloud thing. Like you heard of Amazon, but they don't know
Yes.
what's going on with Amazon for the other thing. And Teams is blowing up
Mm.
because companies need to have something international that's constant versus like a Slack. I mean, listen, I can talk about that stock all day, but what I'm saying is like you're right. Like Facebook, by the way, when I don't know when you bought it, but it sounds like you bought it early, bro. That was a pretty
I
good
did.
one.
Yeah.
Like I was
Yes.
telling people, like I was seeing it. It's just like I'm seeing a lot of clients just take all their money into Facebook, bro. There's something there, and they're gonna keep investing in. And they had the best sales team. That's why if you see Twitter, it's not looking good because they don't have a good revenue stream that's like good enough. And then like you look at Snapchat and Pinterest, and I know you see it all, but like I was telling people, like Facebook is unique. You need to watch out for them, and some people
Sure.
got in good. But talk to them about that transition because what are you doing now? And like, yeah, like I know you can't like give like stock tips and shit, and I guess I need to put a disclaimer now. I'm not giving you stock and investment tips, so don't come after me. This is just me
No.
talking about what I've seen. But yeah, man, just introduce people what you're doing.
So basically talking, with the Facebook and with, stock market, I started, again, just blindly trading, just blindly buying stocks. If it's cheap on the IPO, this is when my rookie year, I read a lot about it. And I study psychology, so, dealing with humans. And I just, bought the stocks that made sense to me. So I bought Facebook early. I think I bought Facebook at $40. Um, I bought Momo. I bought YY. I bought, who did I buy else? Did I buy Alibaba? Alibaba dropped a couple years later,
That's what's up.
and I can't remember. But anyways, after that, after I stopped playing the first time, and I learned how to like do what I do now, I realized, you know, it was just kind of like a buy and hold, which is a lot of people do, which is fine. But I wanted to really dive into it, and that's when I realized, currencies, trading, learning how to trade currencies. And so right now I trade, the foreign exchange market.
Yeah, yeah.
And I hate to tell people I do it because it has such a bad stigma to it. Oh, you trade forex, you trade, because a lot of people who don't really do it for real also do it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So they kind of, it's kind of like, if you ask someone, do you play basketball? And they say, oh yeah, play every now and then. They're not playing. The real players is 2 times a day, three
Yes,
times.
sir.
You know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
sir.
It's every day. It's not just, and it's the same thing with, trading the foreign exchange market. A lot of people say they do, but they're not into this thing for real. So that's when I, dove into it, and
Yeah.
I really, so right now I trade currencies. I trade, the money we spend, you know, pounds, euros, dollars, Japanese yen, if you will. But you know, this foreign exchange is the biggest market. It's
Mm-hmm.
it's massive. It's literally how other currencies function. So how other markets function. So I started that, and for me, my one of my client managers always used to say, a day on the foreign exchange market is like a month in the stock market. Because in
Yeah, yeah,
terms of
yeah.
percentages, in terms of what you can, in terms of the freedoms you have, to trade. And for me, I like that because I wanted to. Again, this is kind of like with basketball. There's always like this element of control,
Yeah, yeah.
and with basketball, you can't always control everything. You can control what you can control. It's one of the sayings, but you can't control things like injuries.
Yeah, man.
But with this, again, with the foreign exchange market, obviously you can't control the market,
Mm-hmm.
but you can control how you navigate through it. And you're talking percentages. The percentages you make in the foreign exchange market. You might not see that in the stock market for months or a year,
Yeah, yeah.
and you make that in a day if you know what you're doing right.
Mm-hmm.
So so now what I do is I trade, for myself personally first of all, and for clients as well. So for private clients or like businesses or so yeah, that's literally what I do right now.
Yeah, man. No, I love it. There's the thing that I know is that you're gonna do great in this because you do your shit. You go all in on something. You don't do something half-assed. So the fact that
Right.
you made this into a career and thriving, man, like props to you. Like
Thanks, man.
I really hope that what people got out of this stream, and this is something new for me on this stream here, man. It's like I just heard you talk through a lot of this adversity, and you got a smile on your face going through it all, man. And
Yeah.
and you doing it. So you've always been an inspiration to me. I'm happy to call you a friend, and I'm honored you came on the stream to drop some knowledge, man.
Likewise, my man. Likewise, check.
Yes, sir. All right. Well, everybody, listen. This is my birthday week, so you can leave a comment to have a chance to win an Amazon gift card. I already saw a couple Bonnies respond, so that's what's up. And then also, I just got a new texting service. So if y'all text me, I got this thing that like what Diddy has and Ellen DeGeneres has. I got to be one of the whitelisted. So I'm gonna try to blow this shit up and do something pretty creative and keep me on watch, man. Because people like Ogo, who's reinvented himself multiple times and making a career. I love what I do, but I'm loving doing this because I get to hear stories like this and share stories like this with you. So, Ogo, appreciate it, my dude.
No doubt, it's my pleasure, my man. My pleasure.
All right, talk to you soon, man.
All right, see you.